Starting off our list at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher and Rhianna. Let this one sink in for a minute. I'm a little weirded out. Maybe I'm just living under a rock, but I'm not sure how I missed this. Apparently they had an 8-week fling, and it all started after pictures leaked of her leaving his pad in the middle of the night back in 2012. Sources say the two of them hit it off at a friend's party in December and began having a little casual fling after that. A photographer busted Riri as she drove up to his property with her security team around midnight one night, and they caught pictures of her leaving around 4 a.m. A source told The Sun the flirting began as soon as Rhianna and Ashton met and swapped numbers. That moves on to text and arranging to meet. They snuck off to a Santa Monica hotel a few weeks ago. They are two single people having a fling, so they thought it would be best to meet in secret. I guess the hookups lasted for 8 weeks and nothing serious really came from it. It was really just a fling. At number 9 is Matthew McConaughey and Janet Jackson. This is weird. Why are all these hookups so weird and random? The two of them caused chaos in Hollywood after posing for a picture at the 2002 Grammys. Rumors started that they had a fling going on, but Matthew always denied that there was anything between them. His side of the story is, I quote, "We swapped some good music and she's a dear lady. She's a sweetheart, but we're not dating, we're just friends." But her side of the story is, I quote, "I guess we did date. He's a great guy and such a sweetheart. It was just for a minute and that's why I am so hesitant to mention it." Okay, so which one is it? I think that they had this little thing going on, but maybe it was more serious for her, like they weren't on the same page about it. What do you guys think? Either way, it's weird. I don't care what anyone says, I just cannot picture them together.
First up on the list is Heidi Klum, the German supermodel and well-known TV personality for her appearances on television shows Project Runway and America's Got Talent. Her love life is almost as infamous as her work in the media, with the wild ride of ups and downs. She's been married 3 times and has been romantically linked with tons of other celebrities. But in 2014, after she filed for divorce from her former husband Seal, the model started dating her security guard, Martin Kristen. When they started dating, Martin had been Heidi's bodyguard for 4 years. Quote, "He has cared for our entire family, primarily for our 4 children. He helped us tremendously. He's a great man and we just got to know each other from a completely different perspective." They would date for about a year and a half before deciding to call it quits in late 2013. Apparently, the reason why they split was because Martin got bored with being a house husband and having everything handed to him. I guess not everyone lusts for fame, heavy respect. Next on the list is Jennifer Lopez. Before A-Rod and even before Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez was extremely close to her bodyguard and personal trainer, Ojani Noah. While they may have been pretty intimate, especially with all the time working out and protecting the singer and actress, before they would eventually start to date in 1996. In fact, they were so close that they got married to one another in 1997. The two would only be married for 10.5 months before they decided to split. The divorce was messy, however, and drawn out for quite some time as both parties were unable to reach an appropriate agreement point. The next celebrity is Pamela Anderson, a Canadian-American actress, model, and television personality. She's known mostly for her scantily clad appearances in Playboy magazine and Baywatch. After her time in the spotlight, she's mostly living out her years these days in Canada pretty quietly. While the icon has been in relationships with tons of celebrities throughout her time, she has gotten married for the 5th and hopefully final time to her bodyguard Dan Hayhurst. The two reportedly got extremely close during the stay-at-home order and quietly, in a rather beautifully intimate ceremony, got married in Canada. I mean, just look at these pictures. She looks so happy. Adorable. According to Daily Mail TV, Pam stated, quote, "I'm exactly where I need to be, in the arms of a man who loves me." I love this for her. Next is the princess of pop herself, Britney Spears. The American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress was the biggest mega superstar of the late 1990s and early 2000s. While now she is in a healthy relationship with her fiancé, Sam Asghari, in 2008 she began an intimate relationship with 2 of her bodyguards. If rumors are to be believed, which they are not always by the way, so grain of salt with this one, but if they are to be believed, then Britney apparently dated her ex-Israeli soldier boyfriend Lee. The two were only casual, however, and would break up only shortly after the rumors started. Then, 2 years later, in 2010, Britney reportedly dated another one of her bodyguards named Ryan. Again, must not have been super serious because we barely see him outside of a few cozy appearances with the pop star. Next is Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse was a British singer-songwriter known for her expressive and gritty musical genres. She's been married and divorced and has had tons of turbulent love affairs during her time in the spotlight before her tragic and sudden passing. After she divorced from her husband, Blake Fielder Civil, Amy got really close with her bodyguard Neville. The reason she got divorced, by the way, was because she allegedly enjoyed romantic liaisons with other men while on vacation in the Caribbean islands. When speaking of the new relationship, the artist apparently told her friends that she liked him because, quote, "he makes me feel safe because he's big and strong." They were even seen going on vacation with one another to St. Lucia, where she introduced him to her friends and family. They were romantically linked for a few months before eventually fizzling out over time. I wonder if he kept working for her after the breakup. Awkward.
At number 10, Jessica Simpson. I'm not one for cheating. I'm a very faithful person and a very honest person, but I also know that if you were to cheat on your partner, you might want to try hiding it better than Jessica Simpson did in the mid-2000s. Paparazzi exposed Jessica for allegedly cheating on her then husband Nick Lachey when they photographed the singer leaving the Chateau Marmont hotel. See, upon hearing that, you'd think, I don't know, maybe she just had a wild night and she needed to crash the hotel. Or maybe she was visiting a friend or anything else. She was known as the industry's goody two-shoes girl, so no one would have expected an alleged affair being the reason for her stay at the hotel. The evidence supports that. How about the fact that when she was photographed leaving the hotel, she was seen wearing Adam Levine's shirt? Not too long ago, Jessica came out and admitted to her extramarital affairs during this time, so maybe she was really there with the Maroon 5 frontrunner. At number 9, John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. Speaking of Jessica Simpson, she seems to have a reputation for having her relationships exposed by paparazzi. Photographers caught John Mayer and Jessica Simpson while on vacation in Cabo, and when they captured the photos of the couple, they had no clue that they had actually witnessed the exact moment that their relationship ended. Apparently, their relationship had been rocky for a while, so I'm guessing that this is why photographers were following the couple so intently looking for a scoop. I doubt they were expecting to strike gold with this picture. As they snapped the photo and released it to the public, news of their breakup broke, but it doesn't seem like John and Jessica had even the slightest chance of keeping their breakup under wraps. I still can't believe that it was actually confirmed that their relationship officially ended seconds before these pictures were taken. That's insane.
Coming in at number 8 is Kim Kardashian and Nick Cannon. I feel like I should have known about this one. Like it should have made more headlines or something. Unless it did and I just didn't see them. The two of them got together after Kim's whole sex tape thing, and apparently the sex tape is what ruined their little fling. They got together back in September 2006 and called off what they had going on a few months later in January 2007. You could kind of say they were dating, like they were an item. Nick calls Kim one of the nicest people you will ever meet, but told the Howard Stern show that they ended because she lied about her sex tape. He told the story saying, "This was my issue. We talked about this tape and she told me there was no tape. If she might have been honest with me, I might have tried to hold her down, but the fact she lied and told me there was no tape, no." He even went as far as saying that he thinks Kim had something to do with the tape's release, like it was actually planned. Regardless though, Nick doesn't have anything rude to say about her or their few months together, and Kim doesn't have anything to say about it at all. Sliding into our number 7 spot is Mel B and Zac Efron. The world was shook when it was revealed that the two of them hooked up back in 2017. I am still shook, you guys. It was around the time that Mel split from her husband of 10 years. What better timing than to hook up with Zac Efron, right? According to The Sun, Mel, who was 43, then met Zac, who was 30, on an exclusive dating app where they started to exchange some flirty messages. An unnamed friend of Mel's told the British newspaper he ended up driving over to her pad, they hit it off and spent a few enjoyable hours together. It wasn't exactly a meeting of the minds, neither saw it as long term, but there was chemistry there. Mel thought Zac had an amazing body. Well, duh. Neither of them have confirmed nor denied the hookups, which is almost a confirmation in itself, I feel. Mel made an appearance on Piers Morgan's Life Stories and he asked her about the hookup rumors. She didn't say anything, and he asked, "No denial?" and Mel responded with, "But no comment." So basically, yeah, it happened. At number 6 is Jay Leno and Sharon Osbourne. She has had no problem talking about their brief fling, which happened over 40 years ago apparently. She revealed all the juicy details while speaking to Howard Stern on his Sirius XM show. Turns out that when they had their quick run together, she was 25 years old and it was before she married Ozzy Osbourne, just to put it into a timeline for you. Fling happened after she moved to the US and saw one of his stand-up comedy shows. She liked what she saw and started to flirt with him through these goofy prank calls. That's one way to flirt, I guess. Sharon explained the story saying, "One thing led to another. He came to my house and met me, and then we had a little fling. The fling was more fling for me and not fling enough for him." I'm not even sure what that means. Jay told his version of the story on The Tonight Show and said, "What happened was she had seen me at the Comedy Store. I had never met her, and she got my phone number and she called me every night at midnight for an hour. She was just calling me, but she didn't say who she was. She just had this British accent and she was really intelligent." Well, there you have it, ladies. Now you know what to do to get the attention of your next crush. Call them at midnight, but don't tell them who you are. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Paris Hilton and Val Kilmer. This list is just getting weird. Definitely the most random pair ever. They shocked fans after pictures surfaced of them making out back in 2006. The pictures were reported to be from 2002, during the time that Val was filming his movie Wonderland, which Paris had a cameo in. The pictures were published in an Australian magazine and show Val groping and kissing the blonde bombshell. They were pretty steamy pics, I'm not gonna lie. But their age gap was the main thing that surprised most people. Paris was 25 at the time and Val was 46. Turns out there was a big scandal tied to those photos. New Weekly reported that the images had been leaked for an upcoming auction of Hilton's belongings, which were legally seized from a Los Angeles storage unit after she fell behind with payments. The pictures are believed to have been taken in Val's West Hollywood mansion. Another reason why it was so shocking was because just 1 year earlier he was criticizing her to the media. He said, "Paris Hilton is a great example. She's famous for nothing. It's what we are celebrating in my country, the nothingness of her fame." Well, he clearly wasn't bothered by her nothingness when he was hooking up with her. Here we are at number 4 with Carmen Electra and Simon Cowell. We saw the two of them making headlines back in 2012, but I think I can speak for the majority of us and say that we were hella confused as to what their situation was. But after a lot of speculation, Simon finally confirmed that they were dating each other, but they weren't exclusive. He went on air with Ryan Seacrest and said, I quote, "She's not my girlfriend. We're people who date." He was smitten by her though and kept talking about how adorable she is. The feeling was totally mutual though. Carmen opened up about the relationship, or whatever it was, and said, "He's so cute, he is adorable. He is actually a sweetheart. The thing is, we worked together on Britain's Got Talent. I was a guest judge and I had so much fun. I really liked him. I think he's really cool." However, things got nasty between them when she found Simon hooking up with Lauren Silverman. Like, literally found him. She walked in on them hooking up at his LA home. Awkward. Alright guys, at number 3 is Cameron Diaz and Tyrese. It happened back in 2007 when they were spotted making out at an LA club, and on top of that, she was at an Oscar party with him, which had the media going crazy. A source reported the makeout session saying, "They made out right in front of me on the dance floor." Tyrese was 28 years old and Cameron was 34. There really isn't much else to the story other than the fact that Cameron was simply enjoying her single status after she split with Justin Timberlake. Things seemed to get hot pretty quickly between the two of them, but the fire went out just as quick. It was very short-lived. In spot number 2 is Chelsea Handler and 50 Cent. When the hookup rumors started to spread back in 2010, I thought it was all just fake news. But then Chelsea told Oprah Winfrey that he was a sweetheart and was, I quote, "so cute, but that their fling wasn't anything serious." She later decided to air out all of her dirty laundry when she went on Howard Stern's morning show and spilled all the details. And when I say all, I mean all. She straight up talked about how the sex was. Chelsea says they started talking and flirting after he appeared on her show. There was a weekend when she was traveling to Nashville and he asked if he could meet her out there. She says, I quote, "We went out, we dated, we had sex. My friends all loved him, so we dated for a couple of months." But their breakup story was the juicy part. Turns out she was having his ex-girlfriend Sierra on her show, and he called her the day before to tell her that Sierra wants to get back together with him and is upset about them dating. Chelsea tells the story saying, "So you're telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me, is what you're saying?" He's like, "Yeah, so I just want you to know when she comes." Then I called him the worst thing you could say to a black person short of calling him the N-word, something along the lines of being a gangster. And it was really, really offensive, and I hung up and I've never spoken to him again. Coming from Chelsea though, that really doesn't surprise me. Taking the number 1 spot is Cher and Tom Cruise. How did this even happen? It's known as one of the most baffling romances in Hollywood history. They actually were an item back in the 1980s. She opened up about it over the years to multiple media outlets, saying that they met at Sean Penn and Madonna's 1985 wedding. Cher has noted that he was not a Scientologist during their time together and called him, I quote, "just the most adorable man you can imagine." She even went as far as saying that he remains in her top 5 list of best lovers, if you know what I mean. She said, "It was pretty hot and heavy for a little minute. When we kissed, I thought my head would shoot right off my body." Get it, Cher? The romance was brief though, and by the sounds of it, she probably wishes that it lasted longer.
Next up is the late actress Elizabeth Taylor, one of my personal personal favorites. She was one of the most popular stars of the classic Hollywood cinematic era. On top of being one of the biggest stars of her time, she was also just as known for being the type of woman to fall in and out of love very easily. She's been married and divorced 8 times throughout her life to 7 different men, but her last husband was her own personal bodyguard, Larry Fortensky. After she got divorced from her husband before Larry, John W. Warner, Elizabeth remained single for over 10 years. That was until she met Larry in 1991. Although the two were only together till 1996, they remained extremely close even after the divorce. They remained close friends until Elizabeth passed away in 2011. Next up is the daughter of Princess Rhaenyra III and Grace Kelly, Princess Stephanie Elizabeth. Unlike her movie star mother, known for her dazzling beauty and personality, Stephanie has had an extremely tumultuous relationship with, well, relationships. The princess is known as quite the wild child, and obviously, being royalty, she has a rather impressive security detail. One such member of her security and a personal bodyguard of hers got very close to her, and the two secretly dated for years before shocking everyone by marrying him in a civil wedding at the Palace of Monaco. They also had 2 children together, but sadly divorced after only a year of marriage. The reason behind their divorce, apparently, was because her bodyguard was getting caught being extremely romantic and intimate, if you know what I mean, with another person. After the discovery was unveiled, he was promptly kicked out of the royal family. Next up is Kim Kardashian herself. Back in the early days of her hit reality television show and all of its spin-offs, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim documented the wild time of her single life shenanigans. One such episode details her and her friends going out to a party in New York. During Kim's wild night, she documents having a fling with her personal bodyguard, Shango Dian. The Australian bodyguard and her were seen together a ton of times throughout the filming of the reality television show. That being said, Shango found his true love and wife, marrying her less than 2 months after Kanye married Kim. Even though it didn't amount to anything, their hookup is well known for its appearance on the reality television show. Eventually, Shango had to leave the Kardashian clan because of a multitude of issues, including an expired visa and inability to keep up with the Kardashians. Quote, "They are a beautiful family, and I enjoyed being part of that, but I didn't really have a lot of work over there, and I didn't want to have to ask for $50 to go to the movies." That being said, he and Kim had surprisingly maintained contact. Shortly after she dissolved her marriage to Kanye and began dating Pete Davidson, Kim went on vacation to Australia, and she had emailed Shango to see if he would be part of her security detail. Sadly, it didn't work out because a security team had already been constructed, but it was nice to see that there were no hard feelings between the two. Scarlett Johansson is next up on the list. The American actress, known for tons of blockbuster movies, had a fun fling with her personal bodyguard way back in 2012. She and him got super close to one another over the summer and even went on vacation together on board a yacht in the Mediterranean. So not only did he have her back, but he also helped oil it too, as they tanned and got super cozy with one another. What's interesting about this seemingly short fling is that Scarlett was with another man at the time. She was dating an advertising executive, and although I can't seem to find any information on how he felt about Scarlett being buttered up by her personal bodyguard on their private vacation, I can't imagine he was too happy about it. It seems though that they would fizzle out after only a few months together and move on to separate people.
Number 8, Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. When fans are really invested in a couple, they will do anything to get the latest relationship gossip. Same goes for when a celebrity calls it quits. For the next few weeks after their breakup announcement, paparazzi will be everywhere trying to catch a glimpse of those people trying to look for a scoop. Well, this is exactly what happened with Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. In June of 2019, Dakota and Chris announced that they had broken up after 2 years together. Obviously, having been together for so long, their split was big news and the paps just had to get in on the scoop. Well, it wasn't until a few months later when photographers spotted the two having a day together at the beach. They snapped some photos and broke the news that the two were not split up as everyone had thought. The fires of love had reignited and the paparazzi were the ones to expose the truth. At number 7, Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. At the time, this incident was big news. When paparazzi snapped photos of Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders in an affair, the news blew up. Paparazzi exposed their secret relationship, and honestly, it's stuck with Kristen till this day. When you ask people why they hate Kristen, the overwhelming answer is because of her cheating scandal. The exposure was enough to end both Sanders and Stewart's relationships with their partners. The whole thing went down while filming Snow White and the Huntsman, so I guess as Twilight came to a close, so too did the coveted relationship between Bella and Edward. This scandal was probably one of the best examples of paparazzi blowing the doors of a story. At number 6, Rhianna and Ashton Kutcher. Here's the tea on this fling, so get your mugs ready. Apparently, Rhianna and Ashton had a little entanglement back in 2012 as she was spotted leaving the actor's house in the early hours of the morning back in March of that year. Sources suggested that the two had reportedly had a one-night stand, noting that the singer had arrived around midnight that night and left around 2 a.m. This spotting sort of confirmed some people's speculation that there was something going on between the two of them because this wasn't the first time they were seen getting close to one another. According to one source, they had been flirting and texting with each other and meeting up at hotels. Other sources said that at the time they were just two single people having fun and saying, quote, "Both of them love a good time and I think they're just too busy for anything serious just yet." End quote. There was no definite end to this fling, and since it wasn't anything serious, it doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting to find out that these two Hollywood stars were so close at one point. At number 5, Ashley Olsen and Lance Armstrong. Here's a juicy little story about forbidden love. Well, not really, but it's still a little spicy. You see, actress and fashion designer Ashley Olsen and former professional cyclist Lance Armstrong had a bit of a fling in 2007, and very few people were on board with it. They started seeing each other a few weeks after Lance broke up with fashion designer Tory Burch, and sources say that Ashley and Lance were infatuated with each other. The two were spotted on a date at the Rose Bar in Gramercy Park Hotel, and they were seen macking on each other, then later leaving together in the early hours of the morning. Because there was a 15-year age gap, the people closest to Lance advised the cyclist to stop seeing Ashley over fears that this relationship and the large age difference would ruin his career. Lance tried to fight off his infatuation for Ashley, but things just ended up fizzling out a couple months later. At number 4, Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey. Did you know that Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey dated? Back in 2006, after splitting from his ex Jessica Simpson, Nick had his rebound game on with Kim K, who at the time was still a nobody in terms of fame. In an interview, Nick shared some details about his relationship with Kim Kardashian, where he claimed that Kim used him for fame because at this time, she was only known as Paris Hilton's assistant. During the interview, Nick said, quote, "Let's just say this. We went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. There are certain ways to play this game, and some people play it well." End quote. In a way, Kim admitted that being linked to Nick worked well in terms of getting her notoriety, as she wrote in her 2010 book, Kardashian Confidential, that after dating Nick, paparazzi started calling out her name when she was out. At number 3, Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake. It is rumored that Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake have gotten pretty close in the past and have hooked up in secret on a few occasions. Their secret relationship of sorts reportedly began after they worked together for Justin's music video, What Goes Around Comes Around, where Scarlett played Justin's love interest. Sources have said that the pair got very close to each other back in 2011 while Justin was dating Jessica Biel. Some sources say that after having a wild night out of town, party hopping in New York, Justin was spotted heading straight for Scarlett's apartment. Now again, nothing is confirmed, but nothing's denied either, so what do you guys think? At number 2, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. Apparently, there was a spicy relationship blooming between Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock back in 2011. Reports said that they had enjoyed a quote-unquote close friendship for about a decade, and that they also reportedly enjoyed some secret holidays with each other as well. This all started happening after the release of their movie Proposal. They never really tried to hide their connection to one another, but they didn't really confirm anything either. They kind of just existed. The two of them apparently spent most of their time at Sandra's estate, and they were even photographed kissing on New Year's Eve. Their publicists at the time tried to convince the public that their relationship was, quote, strictly platonic, but I don't know guys, I think we really know what was going on there. And finally, at number 1, Harry Styles. When Harry Styles was still a rising star in the X Factor, he had his first celebrity hookup. Though it may have been fun in the beginning, it ultimately led Harry to being in his very first scandal, again, quite early on in his career. He bounced back from it completely, but at the time, this sneaky link was big news. Back when Harry was on the X Factor, he developed a crush on the show's presenter, Caroline Flack. Caroline wrote about this little crush in her autobiography, Storm in a Sea Cup, where she revealed that Harry's crush on her was no secret, saying, quote, "I already knew that he had a crush on me, he made it pretty obvious. He'd said it in magazines and he'd said it to friends." end quote. Ultimately, they started dating when Harry was 17 and Caroline was 31. All was well with them until suddenly things got complicated. One day, paparazzi captured images of Harry leaving Caroline's house and a scandal began. Caroline shared her thoughts on what happened next in her book, writing, quote, "It began to go wrong when Harry was pictured coming out of my house one morning, and once that was out, it was open season. After that, anyone could say anything. In the street, people were shouting at me," end quote. Things got so bad that Caroline even started receiving threats from One Direction fans, ultimately ending her relationship with Harry.
At number 10, Bridget Hall. As you will come to see, Leonardo DiCaprio has hooked up with a lot of celebrities over the years. This isn't even a complete list. He's known for being with models and a few actresses as well, so let's kick things off with Leo's fling with supermodel Bridget Hall. The London Sun reported several sightings of Leo and Bridget together back in 1994 in New York City. According to the supermodel, she and Leo were just friends, but rumors surrounding the pair say otherwise. According to others, Bridget and Leo had been hooking up, but apparently she wasn't happy about it. One source claimed that Bridget once said, quote, "He was lousy in bed, the sex was bad," end quote. According to the source, because it was so bad, she ended up dumping the actor because he was, quote, "disappointing." Having that rumor out there in the public must have sucked for Leo. We don't know if this is actually factual or not, since no one's actually confirmed that statement, but at least we know that this quote didn't hurt Leo's chances with the ladies, because he still had a lot of luck judging by how many people are on this list. At number 9, Naomi Campbell. Another famous supermodel that Leonardo DiCaprio allegedly hooked up with is none other than Naomi Campbell. We know that Leo and Naomi are pretty close friends, but back in the 90s there was a rumor that the two of them had been hooking up on occasion. In 1995, it was reported that Leo and Naomi were a bit of a thing, but they ultimately decided in the end to keep things platonic. But that doesn't mean that they haven't spent any private time together since then. Since deciding to keep their friendship status as just friends, they've gone on vacations together with a group of their friends, they've hosted and attended each other's events, and there was even a funny moment when Leo photobombed Naomi's selfie with 50 Cent. You should know better than to photobomb a supermodel, Leo. Tisk tisk. At number 8, Kristen Zhang. With so many celebrity relationships, we know that they can't always work out. Here's a relationship that didn't exactly pan out for Leonardo DiCaprio. Back in the 90s, Leonardo DiCaprio got into a relationship with model and actress Kristen Zhang. The couple started off pretty strong and dated for about 15 months between 1996 and 1997. This all occurred before he shot to fame after starring in Titanic. During their relationship, Leo even brought Kristen along as his date to his film Romeo and Juliet. Side note, that is an incredible film. Anyways, like all good things, this relationship had to come to an end, and the reason why it ended might surprise you. In an article published by the Daily News, it was reported that Kristen and Leo broke up because of the actor's immaturity. Kristen said that he and his friends needed to, quote, "grow up," end quote. Now, I'm not sure if there was any specific catalyst for saying that Leo was immature, like how he acted or something, but clearly this was perhaps a case of right person, wrong time. At number 7, Helena Christensen. From doing my research for this list, I've come to learn that Leonardo DiCaprio is quite the party goer, or at least he definitely was when he was younger at the height of his career. He was known to go to parties and fraternize with various supermodels, and this is sort of how former Victoria's Secret model Helena Christensen came into the actor's life. Apparently, the Danish model was the first woman who partied with Leo when he shot to fame after the release of Titanic in 1997. According to sources, Leo and Helena had hooked up a couple times, but their relationship didn't really go anywhere past the bedroom. As fun as it may have been to be with this up-and-coming actor, Helena didn't do anything else with Leo and later got into a relationship with The Walking Dead star Norman Reedus, whom she was with for 5 years or so. At number 6, Gisele Bundchen. Other than short-lived relationships and little hookups here and there, Leo has had some on and off again relationships. One of these rather unstable relationships happened with supermodel Gisele Bundchen. This couple was on and off between 1999 and 2005, but obviously they called it quits after that. In an interview Gisele did with Vanity Fair in 2009, the supermodel opened up about her relationship with Leonardo, where she opened up about her feelings on the situation and how she felt about the actor, where she said, quote, "We know what we had. We were very young and we grew together in a lot of ways. We were not meant to be boyfriend and girlfriend, but I respect him enormously and wish him nothing but the best." End quote. Gisele later went on to marry NFL player Tom Brady, but she does have one special thing with Leonardo, and that is the title of the only woman the actor has taken to an award show besides his mother or his BFF Kate Winslet. At number 5, Bar Raffaelli.
Following his relationship with Gisele Bundchen, Leonardo DiCaprio got into another relationship with a supermodel, surprise surprise. This time he started loving up on Victoria's Secret model Bar Raffaelli. The couple dated for quite a while, with their relationship spanning from 2005 to 2011. They did take a 6-month break back in 2009, but apparently it did them some good having time away from each other. After the couple got back together following this 6-month break, Bar talked about the experience in an interview. She told sources that she was very grateful for the time that they took apart, saying that she took the time to grow up and work on herself. That's actually a really positive thing to do, and I feel like that's a good way of working on a relationship, by working on yourself. Either way, for them, things didn't work out in the end as they broke up in 2011, and Bar went on to marry Israeli businessman Adi Ezra in 2015. At number 4, Blake Lively. Before Blake Lively married the legendary Ryan Reynolds, she was involved in a bit of a flingy-wingy with Leonardo DiCaprio. There really wasn't much tea to this hookup, other than two adults just enjoying each other's company, but it was still noteworthy, so let me tell you guys about it. Back in 2011, Blake and Leo started making minor headlines after paparazzi caught the two actors getting cozy during the Cannes Film Festival back in 2011. Blake was hooking up with Leo, and sources caught some glimpses into their PDA-filled summer as they traveled together. They were seen canoodling in Italy, New York City, and LA as well, and as you can imagine, the paparazzi ate that up. They were so close back then that Blake even spent her birthday with Leo in Australia while he was filming The Great Gatsby. This whirlwind romance came to an end in October of that year though, with sources citing that the two of them decided to just remain friends. At number 3, Erin Heatherton. Leonardo DiCaprio isn't one to stay single for long, it seems, after seeing a bit of a pattern form throughout this list. Just after his little breakup with Blake Lively, Leo found himself a new partner, this time being with former Victoria's Secret supermodel Erin Heatherton. The two of them did a fair bit of traveling together, first being spotted touring the Vaucluse house in Sydney, Australia in December 2011. The couple was also spotted vacationing together in Mexico as well as Hawaii and Los Angeles. Leo and Erin were also seen spending time together in New York City as paparazzi spotted them riding bikes together in the city. They were going strong for about a year or so, but they ended up splitting up in 2012. Reports say that the couple called it quits because of Leo's schedule, as he was pretty preoccupied with filming for The Wolf of Wall Street. At number 2, Kelly Rohrbach. Next up in the history of Leonardo DiCaprio's flings, we have his relationship with Sports Illustrated model Kelly Rohrbach. Leo and Kelly got together in April of 2015, and a lot of people thought that things were getting pretty serious between the two of them. Throughout their time together, they spent time in New York City, the Hamptons, Saint-Tropez, and were even seen attending the US Open together in October of that year. As I mentioned, people thought that things were getting serious because it was rumored that Leo had proposed to Kelly, but that rumor turned out to be untrue. The couple split up in 2016, but many people think that both parties were pretty okay after the split because they moved on to bigger things, like Kelly being cast in the new Baywatch movie the same week that it was announced that they had broken up. And finally, at number 1, Rhianna. Probably one of the juiciest hookups that Leonardo DiCaprio has had was when he was reportedly getting cozy with Rhianna. Leo and Rhianna were first seen getting close to one another at Coachella in 2015, but this first public look at the two of them cuddling up to each other wasn't the first time it's actually happened. Rumor has it that Leo and Rhianna had actually started hooking up long before that. It was also said that Leo helped to plan the singer's birthday that year when she turned 27. They weren't seen together in public too much, probably to keep their relationship, or whatever they wanted to call it, a secret, but when they were seen out in public again at a club in Paris just after Riri's birthday, they claimed that they were just friends. These celebrity hookups are just one of those Hollywood secrets that are hard to decipher because they're kept so hush-hush. All we have to go off of is whispers and speculation, but hey, that's good enough for a lot of people. At number 8, Phoebe Dynevor. Remember Bridgerton? That show had us pretty enamored when it was first released. The love story that unfolded had a lot of us wishing for that kind of fairy tale romance, but it seems as though one of the show's actresses had a real-life romance of her own, even if it was relatively short-lived. Actress Phoebe Dynevor, who played Daphne Bridgerton on the Netflix series, was reportedly in a relationship with Pete Davidson earlier this year, though it has since ended. Rumors of their budding romance started swirling in March of this year after Pete flew flew from the US to the UK to go spend time with her. For a while, their relationship was labeled as, quote, not too serious, but it was also suggested that there were still some strong feelings there because of how Pete was following Phoebe to different locations around the UK as she was filming. By mid-April, Pete seemed to have confirmed that he and Phoebe were an item during a Zoom call with students from Marquette University when he was asked who his celebrity crush was, and he responded saying, quote, I'm with my celebrity crush, that's all I can speak on, end quote. Things didn't really last much longer between Pete and Phoebe though, as sources confirmed that the pair had broken up in August, and it's been said that the long distance is what ended things. At number 7, Carly Aquilino. Up next, we have a little short-lived relationship from a few years back that you might not have known about. Two comedians in a relationship sounds like a hoot and a half, but in this case, things just didn't work out in the end. Carly Aquilino, known for being a cast member on Girl Code, dated Pete Davidson for almost a year back in 2015. There's not much to say about their relationship other than the fact that they were together. Not much information about their relationship is out there, but we do know that Pete seemed to have left a lasting impression on Carly because she did sort of comment on Pete's engagement to Ariana Grande when she posted a screenshot of a text message of someone reaching out to her after the engagement was announced. It isn't known why they broke up, they just did, but I'm sure that it isn't easy to see your ex engaged to someone else, right? Yeah. Before we continue talking about Pete Davidson's celebrity hookups and relationships, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 6, Kaia Jordan Gerber. Back in 2019, Pete Davidson was seen getting pretty close to Sidney Crawford's daughter, Kaia Gerber. They were linked to each other in October of that year as they were seen grabbing dinner together, and Kaia was spotted wearing a necklace with the letter P charm on it. The pair also went on a romantic getaway in Miami together as well. But even though things looked good in the beginning, apparently not everyone approved of their relationship, especially Kaia's parents. According to sources, Kaia's parents hoped that her relationship with Pete would just fizzle out, and that's exactly what ended up happening. In January 2020, reports came out saying that the couple had split up, and this came about around the time that Pete was dealing with his mental health and checked into rehab. The following month, Pete officially confirmed that he and Kaia were no longer together, saying, quote, she's very young and I'm going through a lot, and it was before I went to rehab. It just wasn't the right place or the right time at all, end quote. At number 5, Margaret Qualley. One of Pete's shorter relationships was that with actress Margaret Qualley. The two first started dating back in August of 2019, but they only lasted about 2 months together. Pete was seen in Venice with her that year, supporting Margaret as she promoted her film Seberg, which was screened at the Venice Film Festival. When they were spotted together in Italy, many people said that they looked to be really in love. One source commented on seeing the couple out in public saying, quote, Pete and Margaret were standing and chatting and laughing. There wasn't much PDA, but he was in a good mood, and the two of them were joking around. End quote. Now, things weren't really that serious between Margaret and Pete, and by the time fall came around, they had called it quits. They broke up in October of that year, but just a month prior, the actress's mom commented on her daughter's relationship with the comedian, saying, quote, she has a beautiful relationship with him, but I don't want to step on her relationship too much. They have a nice relationship, end quote. This was really more of a summer fling than anything else, and shortly after these two ended their relationship, Pete was spotted with Kaia Gerber, whom I just told you guys about. Their relationship did end on good terms, and they just stayed friends after that. At number 4, Ariana Grande. Now, everyone knows about this relationship, so I'm sure you already know the details, but we can't forget about Pete's whirlwind relationship with Ariana Grande. These two really came in hot but burned out just as quickly. Pete and Ariana revealed that they were dating in May of 2018, just after he got out of a relationship with Cazzie David, whom I will tell you guys about after. Just a few weeks after getting together, Pete popped the question and the two got engaged in June of 2018. This move shocked everyone because of how soon it was, but they were crazy about each other, so who was going to stop them, right? Sadly though, things weren't meant to work out, and this intense relationship fizzled out and the couple broke up in October of 2018. After that, there was a bit of drama, tattoos were covered up, Thank You Next came out, and it mentioned Ariana's relationship with Pete, and Pete mentioned all of that in one of his comedy performances. They've both moved on from the situation, clearly, but I feel like a lot of people saw this ending coming because of how intense everything was in the beginning. Sometimes you just need a fling in your life, and that's okay. When you love someone hard, it can be very overwhelming. At number 3, Cazzie David. Pete Davidson's relationship with Cazzie David, the daughter of comedian Larry David, was Pete's first high-profile long-term relationship. Cazzie and Pete started seeing each other in May of 2016, and they went through a lot together. As any couple does, they shared their struggles, but eventually it got to the point where they just couldn't carry on in a healthy relationship, and so they broke up in May of 2018. In 2020, Cazzie published a collection of essays titled No One Asked for This, where she opened up about her breakup with Pete, recalling the struggles that both of them had with their mental health during their relationship, and she also exposed the fact that she and Pete broke up the day before finding out that Pete and Rhianna were together. The end of Cazzie and Pete's relationship was pretty painful, as you could no doubt imagine, coming out of a 2-year-long relationship, but according to sources, they are friends now and that works for them. At number 2, Kate Beckinsale. What is your stance on rebounds after a relationship? Some people are for it, others are against it. Clearly, Pete Davidson isn't opposed to a rebound because shortly after calling it quits with Ariana Grande, Pete found himself in a fling with actress Kate Beckinsale. Not that there's anything wrong with a rebound, I mean, to each their own, do what you gotta do, but a lot of people had something to say about this short-lived romance between Kate and Pete. First of all, there was the timing. Many of Ariana's fans were pretty upset to see that Pete had moved on from Ariana so quickly. Pete and Kate were seen getting pretty close together in January 2019 when they were seen flirting at a Golden Globes after party. It was all speculation until they confirmed it a few weeks later when they were seen making out at a Rangers game. Sources said that this PDA was meant as an FU to Ariana. Now, on top of the fact that Kate and Pete got together so quickly after Ariana and Pete split, people also commented on their age difference. Kate and Pete had a 20-year age gap, and he was apparently only 3 years older than Kate's daughter. Either way, things didn't work out between them, and by the time April rolled around, the couple had called it quits. Explaining the breakup, one source said, quote, "Even though Kate has been in Hollywood for a long time, she struggled with the attention on her relationship with Pete. He lives his life with his heart on his sleeve." End quote. And finally, at number 1, Kim Kardashian. Now this one is the newest fling on Pete's roster. The comedian has been seen getting pretty close with Kim Kardashian, and people are wondering what's really going on here. The two sparked dating rumors back in October of this year after photos surfaced of Pete and Kim holding hands on a roller coaster, leading people to speculate that there's some kind of spark between them. A source close to them said that they are just friends and that they're just having fun together, but fans are still digging and looking for any evidence to support the theory that these two are an item. Just recently, it was reported that Pete had arranged for a private dinner with Kim on Staten Island, and they also have been spotted together in New York City, where Pete currently lives. Everything surrounding their suspected relationship happened after Kim guest hosted SNL and kissed Pete in a skit, so maybe they just bonded over that, or maybe there's something more.
And at number 10, Joe Jonas. Joe Jonas was the first celebrity Taylor dated after she became a mainstream star. They dated from July to October of 2008, and it was highly publicized. In the end, the relationship didn't last too long, but their relationship was really what stuck with fans. After they broke up, Taylor went on The Ellen Show and told the world that Joe broke up with her on a 27-second phone call. I'm honestly still wondering how that's even possible. Then Taylor wrote songs Last Kiss and Forever and Always about him too. Then Joe moved on to actress Camila Bell, and Taylor wrote the song Better Than Revenge, which includes lyrics aimed at Camila like, "She's an actress but she's better known for the things she does on the mattress." Joe actually commented on Taylor's music surrounding their split, and he wanted the world to know that he did not cheat on Taylor like she may have implied in the songs. And at number 9, Lucas Till. Taylor and Lucas Till started dating after he starred in her music video called You Belong With Me, but their young love did not last. They dated for only 1 month in 2009, but it still got a ton of press. When asked why it didn't work for them, Lucas explained that there was not enough friction in the relationship for it to last. He added, quote, "We just really both liked each other, but most relationships work out because you get along, then you don't, then you make up and it's passionate. And with us, I just really liked her as a friend." And at number 8, Taylor Lautner. This relationship was another that did not last for too long, but it did create one of the strangest couple names in history, Taylor Squared. They were together from August to December of 2009, and they met on the set of the movie Valentine's Day, where they acted alongside each other. The pair played love interests, which clearly got sparks flying. A source revealed that after a few months of dating, they both realized that they weren't compatible for the long term. The sad song Back to December off Taylor's Speak Now album is reportedly about Lautner. In the song, she sings about regret for the way that things ended. And at number 7, John Mayer. This was probably Taylor's first serious relationship, and although it didn't last for all that long, it led to the creation of the hit song Dear John. They dated from December of 2009 to February of 2010, and there was a 12-year age difference between them. They first started dating after they collaborated on the song Half of My Heart. But things went rocky pretty quickly, which is evident by the lyrics in the song. One line went, quote, "Dear John, I see it all now it was wrong. Don't you think 19 is too young to be played by your dark, twisted games, when I loved you so?" But John Mayer actually clapped back at the way that he was portrayed in her music. He told Rolling Stone in 2012, quote, "It made me feel terrible because I didn't deserve it. I'm pretty good at taking accountability now, and I never did anything to deserve that. It was a really lousy thing for her to do." And at number 6, Jake Gyllenhaal. After the release of the 10-minute version of All Too Well, I think we all know there's crazy tension between Taylor and Jake Gyllenhaal. These two had a hot and heavy romance between October of 2010 and January of 2011. The pair also had an age gap of 9 years, which has raised some eyebrows. The romance was so intense that apparently Jake paid $160,000 just so he could fly her out on a private jet for a date. But then they split and she poured her heart out on the album Red, more specifically in the song All Too Well, when she gave details about their romance and the tension that led to their split. Some fans questioned how they could have had such a whirlwind romance if they only dated for a few months. But it's been widely rumored that Taylor actually lost her virginity to Jake, so that's why the relationship was filled with so many highs, then lows when they split. Halfway at number 5, Connor Kennedy. Taylor and Connor Kennedy had an intense summer fling in 2012 that started from July to October. They were first spotted together sharing a lunch in Mount Kisco, New York. Then throughout the rest of the summer, they were caught by paparazzi in tons of coupley photos. It looked pretty serious at one point. Taylor even bought a $5 million house by his in Cape Cod. But apparently that was one of the things that started their downfall. One of Connor's close friends claimed, quote, "Connor liked Taylor, don't get me wrong, but this business of her buying a house on the Cape made him nervous." Although at this point things were still pretty good between them. But then a feud broke out. Apparently Connor's family accused Taylor of crashing one of their family weddings and making things very awkward for the couple getting married. Her reps denied the tension, but clearly things were on the rocks at that point because they broke up shortly after. And number 4, Harry Styles. This is probably Taylor's shortest relationship, but it was so passionate she basically wrote an entire album because of it. The pair dated from December of 2012 to January of 2013, and they were caught by paparazzi a few times out and about. But then almost as fast as it started, it was over. One source said they got into a huge fight while on vacation, and it led to Taylor leaving the vacation and Harry staying behind to let off some steam. Then she wrote the hit song I Knew You Were Trouble because of Harry, along with the album 1989, which includes many more songs believed to be about Harry, most notably the song Style, which is basically named after him. Although the pair are apparently on good terms now. And at number 3, Calvin Harris. This relationship was easily the most scandalous. After this pair broke up, they actually got into a public feud. The couple dated from March of 2015 to June of 2016 and were introduced by their mutual friend Ellie Goulding. The relationship looked very positive and lasted over a year, but they broke up shortly after their 1-year anniversary. Their split seemed to be amicable at first, but then Taylor was seen kissing Tom Hiddleston only 2 weeks after the split. Apparently Harris felt blindsided and took his anger out on Twitter. Harris tweeted that Taylor's team was trying to make him look bad when she exposed that she co-wrote the song This Is What You Came For Calvin Harris and Rhianna. Then he tweeted that Taylor was trying to, quote, bury him like Katy, alluding towards Taylor's feud with Katy Perry. He eventually opened up about his social media rant, saying that he, quote, just snapped. And at number 2, Tom Hiddleston. These two started their relationship almost immediately after Taylor split with Calvin Harris. They dated from June to September of 2016. The pair even made their relationship official in the public's eye when they attended the 2016 Met Gala together, which was a huge step for Taylor. Although rumors of cheating swirled around the couple, considering they started dating so soon after her and Calvin Harris split up. Their whirlwind PDA-filled romance took them all over the globe, with stops in Italy, Tennessee, Rhode Island, New York City, Australia, and England. But of course, their summer romance would end pretty quickly. A source revealed that apparently Tom wanted their relationship to be even more public, while Taylor wanted to keep it more low-key. Tom later addressed if the relationship was all for show in a GQ interview, where he said, quote, of course it was real. Taylor is an amazing woman, she's generous and kind and lovely, and we had the best time. And finally, number 1, Joe Alwyn. Taylor's current relationship is her longest, and many think this is the man that Taylor is going to marry. We're not sure when exactly Joe and Taylor started dating, because she went pretty much radio silent on social media after her split with Tom.
but many think they got together near the end of 2016. At this time, Taylor was caught in a public feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, but other than that, she was nowhere to be seen, online or out in the world by paparazzi. But even though she was laying low, her dating life was in full swing. News broke in May of 2017 that Taylor was dating English actor Joe Alwyn, and they'd been seeing each other for months. And it's clear that things are very serious. Joe was briefly in Taylor's documentary Miss Americana, where she spoke of how he helps her with her writing. Then during her Grammy acceptance speech said, quote, "To Joe, who's the first person that I play every single song that I write, and I had the best time writing songs with you in quarantine." Based on some song lyrics, fans have even speculated the two might be engaged, but neither person has confirmed it. A source said about the couple, quote, "They've been continuing to be pretty low-key about their relationship to the outside world to continue to protect it. They've discussed future plans, and Taylor can see herself marrying Joe one day."